everyone, and welcome to Spoilers Obviously. I am your host Joel, and with me today, my lovely wife Batya.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Still calling in for Boses, but good.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing good, I'm excited about our episode.
Yeah, I think there's some good things to talk about this time around, so let's get into it.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about Game of Thrones House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 6.
Mm-hmm. How many episodes are in this season?
10.
Okay, so a little more than halfway.
Yeah.
We're getting somewhere.
We're getting somewhere, definitely. It's a great show, way better than Rings of Power.
Ugh, well, that's a low bar to set.
Well, Rings of Power?
Yeah.
It is. But it's a really good show.
Yeah, I've actually really been enjoying this, and I'm not a huge Game of Thrones fan. I mean, it's like, okay, whatever. I watched the previous show, as I mentioned, I think in a different episode. I watched the actual Game of Thrones show just because, you made me. And, and it gave us what to talk about. But this show, I've actually been, enjoying it out of my own volition.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, with this episode, we have the biggest time jump of this season.
I was surprised.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't surprised because we knew we were going to have new characters, new actors.
That's not what I meant by when I said I was surprised.
What?
I knew that you had told me in a previous podcast episode that they were going to recast because they were doing big time jumps. The whole season, they were doing big time jumps. And that there was going to be a lot of changes happening in the show because of it. Because you can't keep the same actress, when you're jumping 10 years in advance. It's not going to look right.
Yeah.
And so I'm just surprised that they're doing so many time jumps because Game of Thrones, it's the original at least, really liked to drag things out.
Well,
so in this case, they're really trying to get to certain points.
And
it felt like.
this is the reasons why I prefer Game of Thrones over this, because as much as I do enjoy this show and I love this show, I'm getting season 7, season 8 Game of Thrones vibes.
Yeah.
They're speeding everything up. So that is maybe the only the only problem I have with this show. Mm-hmm. But you know what can you do? So
let that be the worst of our problems.
Yeah. So we start the episode with Rhaenyra, the new actress. Rhaenyra giving birth to her third child. That does not look like her husband Lenor. Yeah, something like that. And this is a problem, and obviously the only one it really pisses off is
the queen.
The queen, Alicent.
What a bitch. Just want to say.
Yeah, I know, I guess. But
how no? The woman just gave birth and she's like, the queen requests to see you. It's like, bitch, she hasn't even even birthed the placenta. And she's getting up to try to go walk to bring the baby to the queen.
Yes, but she asked to see the baby, not the queen.
Yeah, but come on. She's not going to let someone just take the baby from her.
Yeah.
She just birthed the damn thing.
Yeah. No, but I have to say, good for her for, sticking up and getting up, walking up those stairs, and also being polite at the same time. People are oh, I'm so lucky to be, one of the first people to congratulate you. And she's like, oh, thank you. She's being all nice and graceful. In the meantime, she's in shit ton of pain. Which
really doesn't fit the previous Rhaenyra that we saw up until now.
Well, again, it's been 10 years. So
that's true.
A lot,
maturity.
A lot can happen in 10 years. And anyways, so she goes to Alicent, who is also a new actress. And we see Alicent is a completely different person as well. Not only physically, but her personality is completely different throughout episode 1 to episode 5. we saw Alicent as I'm all for Rhaenyra. I'm on her side. She is going to be an amazing queen.
Yep.
This is episode 6, and Ovia's like, yeah, no, fuck that bitch. We need to kill her. We need to get rid of her. You know,
she's really starting to play the game.
Yeah, she's starting to play the game. And it's interesting, the complete 180 of that character.
Mm-hmm. I actually like this new actress for Alicent.
Yeah.
I don't like the actress for Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the acting itself or the actress herself. I haven't, it's only been one episode, so I can't really say. But I do enjoy the new actress for Alicent.
Okay. Yeah, I also I enjoy the new actress for Alicent. For Rhaenyra, she will take a while to grow on me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. But yeah, so she goes to the queen, she sees the new baby, she realizes, oh, this does not look like her husband. So here's the third child that Rhaenyra has, obviously cheating. And
she makes a snarky comment to, what's his name? Laenor?
Yeah.
Whatever his name is, the husband of Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of makes like a snarky comment like, oh, you should just keep trying. Eventually one will come out looking like you.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
yeah,
I know, your jig is up. I know what's going on here.
Exactly. And then we see the king, he enters and he's like, congratulations to Rhaenyra.
He looks like shit.
He looks like shit. First of all, surprised that he's alive, because last time we saw him, he fainted.
Yeah.
So surprised he's alive. They'll probably kill him off on episode 9, because, it's Game of Thrones, and always episode 9 is the most epic episode.
That's true. But
not only he looks like shit, he's missing an arm.
Yeah, you pointed that out. I was surprised I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's like, oh my god, your body's decaying in such a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, his hair is falling out, his skin looks like he's chemically burned a bit with scar tissue on the top, and you can see he's sickly. He definitely is not a healthy person.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. A couple of things going on there, clearly.
Well, it's the disease, from the chill that he keeps getting cut.
But I think he's got other issues aside from that.
No, I think it's mainly that. I also think because of that, we do see his kids, and out of all of them, you could say maybe Aegon is the only normal one over there, even though he's a bit kind of an ass.
Yeah, I don't know that he seems so normal. All three of them seem like they have a little bit of a screw loose.
Yeah, but I don't know. Out of the three of them, he kind of looks a bit more put together.
Maybe.
There is a quote that they do say in the Game of Thrones show. There's a saying in Game of Thrones show when it comes to the Targaryen of who's going to be crazy and who's going to be normal. And the saying goes, the gods tosses a coin on the Targaryens of whoever's going to be crazy normal.
Interesting.
So it's kind of...
mental illness really runs in the family. But that's also what happens when you...
Inbreed.
Yeah, you breed so closely to one another.
Yeah.
We see that in this episode that later... Spoiler! later in this episode that Rhaenyra proposes a marriage between her daughter... Her daughter?
Alicent's daughter.
Alicent's daughter and her son.
Yeah.
And the father's like, oh, what a brilliant idea. And it's like, what? Ew.
I get for us.
For them, it's normal.
Yeah, for us, it's disgusting, but, for them, it's normal. But if you think about it, my theory over here, why are her kids kind of with a screw loose? Alicent is not related to the king.
Right.
And yet,
she seems pretty normal.
Exactly. So I think because of the disease, he, all of these kids, he brought them to life after he has the disease.
Yeah, he's clearly not healthy. And so
look at Rhaenyra, for example. The mother and the king are related. They're all cousins, and yet she came out normal. She came out fine. But this was before he had the disease. Mm-hmm. So maybe because of that disease, they have more mental health problems. We also see the Alicent's daughter, talking to a worm. He has eyes he cannot see. He has this amount of legs he cannot walk. He doesn't need to see. Like,
Yeah,
what
and Alicent's sitting there like, what have I done in my life to deserve this? Like,
yeah.
but as any good mother, she's sitting there trying to like encourage her daughter and like talking to her and like kind of trying to get her to like express herself more, even though she knows what her daughter is saying is kind of off the wall.
Makes no sense, but yeah. We also have, the whole conspiracy theory about are these Rhaenyra's kids or not, and we know it's not, and Alicent also knows that it's not. And
The king is the only one who won't admit it.
Yeah, but I have to say this is like kind of a mirror to Ned Stark when Ned Stark was reading the big book of names, and he's like, Robert, black of hair,
right?
John, black of hair. Then you have Joffrey, golden head. And then Ned Stark went to Cersei and like, yeah, I know the truth. I know that Joffrey is not Robert's son. So you better get the fuck out of King's Landing before I'm going to tell the truth to the king and you will be executed. And that was the downfall of Ned Stark.
Right.
And over here you have Alicent, the queen, basically doing the same thing, going to the king like, yeah, one baby, okay. But three of them don't look like the father whatsoever.
Like, you can't just accidentally get pregnant 3 times.
Exactly.
Like,
so it's,
I mean, in theory you could, but let's be real.
Yeah. But the thing is, she is doing basically the same thing that Ned Stark is doing. So this could potentially be her downfall.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game she's playing, and she knows it, but like she's clearly trying to live, dangerously because
yeah,
she's really pushing it throughout the episode.
Yeah, she is. We later on see the kids in the dragon pit, trying to feed the dragon, and we see all of the kids. Rhaenyra's 2 older kids, and Alicent, oldest kid, Aegon, and her youngest kid, I forget his name. But we see all of them in the dragon pit, and Rhaenyra's son is trying to train the dragon how to eat and feed himself and all that.
He gets all excited because he gets to say Dracarys.
Exactly. And then, all the other kids are going, like, laughing at the youngest, Alicent's youngest son. And for the fact that
he doesn't have a dragon.
He doesn't have a dragon for some reason. Now, I don't know why he doesn't have a dragon. They did tell us in earlier episodes that for some reason it is unknown, but for some reason some eggs do not hatch.
But Rhaenyra also said later that, she didn't say, but she kind of insinuated that he never got an egg.
Okay, I didn't catch that. Because
at the very end of the episode, she's standing, towards the end of the episode, she's standing around at like a meeting with the king and the council, and she's apologizing to Alicent, like there's some weird stuff going on between our families, and she's like, and then, let's marry off our kids, and then if whichever dragon it was, I'm not sure which one, but insert dragon's name here, has another
Syrax.
Maybe. I don't know. Probably. Has another set of eggs, then, your son will basically get first pick, is what she says. So she was sort of like insinuating that he doesn't have an egg.
I don't know if that means he doesn't have an egg. It could mean that he has an egg, but the egg didn't hatch.
Just like for Daemon's daughter, the egg doesn't hatch.
Exactly. So, so we have over here 2 eggs in this episode alone that they tell us did not hatch. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a theory over here, but let's go a bit back to the dragon pit. So the kids are basically laughing at the young kid because he doesn't have a dragon, and they beat Alicent's kid because he doesn't have a dragon, and they give him a pig
with wings.
With rings
that they glued on basically.
Yeah, and they call him the Pink Dread. Mm-hmm. Which I kind of think it's a cool name. But then he goes into the dragon pit itself. He sees a dragon over there. We don't know whose dragon that belongs to. It could be Rhaenyra's dragon, I'm not sure. But he the kid gets scared and runs away. And it's like, you're already Targaryen, you want a dragon, and yet you're afraid of dragons. Doesn't really work with.
He's a total crybaby, though.
Yeah.
Because also you see it earlier, like in the very first scene, the way he's behaving, he's a total crybaby. And then he goes and cries to mommy about it afterwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course he's going to get scared.
Yeah. So, anyways, like I said, I have a theory over here that in this episode alone, we see 2 eggs. Well, they tell us there are 2 dragon eggs that were not hatched. Mm-hmm. One is this kid's, his egg. Mm-hmm. And the other one is Daemon's daughter, also doesn't have a dragon because her egg did not hatch. Mm-hmm. Now, my theory over here, what if we are going to hear about another egg that is not going to hatch and basically going to be like petrified, as so to say? Mm-hmm. And those 3 eggs are going to be Daenerys eggs, because when she gets her eggs, they tell us these eggs are stone. There's nothing in it. Mm-hmm. And the way and the way she basically hatch her eggs is by dark magic, sacrificing someone and being in the fire as well.
Right.
So thanks to, sacrifice and dark magic, that's how she hatched the eggs that did not hatch.
That's really interesting.
So... so this
would be cool.
It would be cool. Like we see, like, oh, here are the eggs that will, that did not hatch and will later on in about 200 years will be Daenerys Stormborn's dragons. Mm-hmm. So yeah, then we actually have the knight, who is the son of the Hand of the King, and he is the actual father of Rhaenyra's children.
Right.
Which he's not like confessing to it, but every action that he does kind of like, it's fatherly. It's fatherly. Like,
he's coaching the kids, he comes to see the kids.
He's protecting them.
The baby. Yeah.
Exactly. He holds a baby. Why would a god hold a baby of
and
a
Rhaenyra's
princess?
telling her husband to give him the baby.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's weird. But he also knows it because they have an agreement.
They have an agreement, like, we will follow our duties, but we will be able to sleep with anyone we want to. So since they don't have kids with each other, did they really fulfill their duties? No. Yes, they married each other, but you need to also bring an heir with each other.
But Laenor, whatever his name is. So he also says at one point in the episode to Rhaenyra how, like, I fulfilled my duty fully or fruitfully or whatever word it is. Like, he really feels like he's been giving it his all, even though, like, he's clearly gay, so he's not interested in Rhaenyra. Even all of those aspects of his life, he still, like, felt like he's been fulfilling his duty, and even then Rhaenyra still didn't get pregnant from him. So...
yeah,
she has to bring heirs, otherwise it'll also look really weird.
Yeah.
If you've been married for a long time, where are your children? And if she's not getting pregnant from him, she's got to get pregnant from somebody, and so she,
Yeah, exactly. No, but it was interesting how the guy's protecting the kid, and at the same time he's like not hiding it. Compared to Jaime and Cersei in Game of Thrones, they are hiding it, seriously hiding
their lives.
And then we also see Sir Criston Cole, the guy who took Rhaenyra's virginity. Mm-hmm. So over here we see that he really hates Rhaenyra now. It's like, why do you hate Rhaenyra?
Yeah, I was confused to see that.
So, like, let's see. Let's do a little backtrack, reround over here. You had feelings for her. You took her virginity, put basically your honor aside, just to take her virginity, and then you basically proposed to her by, like, let's run away and forget about the crown and just live our lives in peace.
Which is not practical. Obviously, that's not.
It's legit. It's not legit. But again, you are throwing your honor aside, and then she comes and tells you, like, listen, I can't. I need to fulfill my duties, but you can be my slut. And it's like, How dare you?
I am not a boy toy.
I'm not a boy toy. I'm not a whore. I'm in like, you know what kind of reputation that gives me? How that ruins my honor? It's like, you literally threw your honor aside twice.
Hypocrisy.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you threw your honor twice to the toilet, and when she gives you a better solution,
it's like, oh, now you give a shit.
Yeah, now you give a shit.
I see.
So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So because you don't want to be Rhaenyra's whore, you are going to hate her. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I think I'm okay with you dying. just kill this guy off. Yeah, but then we also have Daemon, and over there that is what we see over there. It's kind of very, very interesting.
It's heartwarming. And it's also really sad.
Exactly. So we see him married, and for the first time, he's a good husband.
Yeah.
He
really loves her. She seems like she's really brought him back down to earth.
Yeah.
Where he belongs.
We see them for the first time riding the dragons, and her dragon is just fucking massive.
That's amazing.
If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the oldest dragons. He's over 200 years old, and I could be wrong over here, but I'm pretty sure that dragon is also used to belong to Aegon the Conqueror's sister. So
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, so that's how old.
There was some pretty cool dragon shots in this episode, I have to say.
Yeah, it was very cool with all the dragon shots. But anyways, we then see Daemon and his wife sitting in the castle, and they're having dinner with this guy who, the head of the castle, if you don't know his name. But they all basically toast for Aegon the Conqueror for the reason that he brought the world together, or Westeros together, and conquered and helped and did all these amazing things, and they drink to him. And the guy comes to Daemon and asks him, like, hey, I'm willing to pay you this castle, these lands, these people, all of this stuff, if you can help us with the war in the Stepstones.
Another war in the Stepstones?
Another war in the Stepstones.
I missed that part completely.
So I'll explain about that. So he says, like, you have 2 dragons, maybe even 3, possibly 4 very soon. So come help us. Because
his wife is pregnant.
Exactly. So come help us with this battle, and, I will pay you with this reward. Now, why is there a battle in the Stepstones? Daemon won the battle in the Stepstone a few episodes ago. The problem is, no one actually goes over there. The kingdom won this property of land, this huge land, and didn't put any goats to protect the land or build on that land. So it was basically an empty land.
So of course, something else was going to come around and try to claim it.
Exactly. So the guy says, like, I'll pay you, help us with this battle. And Daemon is like, you know what? Yeah, why not? I'm into it. Now, I think last episode, I gave my theory of what is Daemon's big plan. And what I said is he wants to be the king, but at the same time, he's not willing to kill his brother or Rhaenyra. So he's trying to be the king in a very, under the table to...
He kind of more wants to usurp the power, but he doesn't want a war in the process.
Exactly. So last episode, he killed his wife. Now he is the head of the Vale. He is, wherever he lives, that castle belongs to him. Now they're giving him this castle. So within this one season, he is now the head of 3 castles that we know of.
Yeah.
That they belong to him. So
he's getting a lot of allies in the process, people that would follow along behind him.
Exactly. And also he was the king of the Stepstones over there, and he, then gave it to the king, to his brother. But the thing is, he's slowly collecting castles and areas and declare yeah, these areas are mine. And then, the king can go basically fuck himself. So I do think that's what he's trying to do, and that was my theory. But we also see, he's a good father, and that was surprising to me. Like we see him,
it was really sweet.
We see him teaching his daughter Valerian, and we like how he takes care of his daughters and all that. Again, he
cares about his family. He's all of a sudden a family man. He's not the same party asshole manipulative type of Daemon that we saw just one episode ago.
Yeah, like we saw two of his wives, and both of them he hated, didn't care about, didn't have kids with. But this one, for some reason, he turned him into a family man, and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But she is pregnant, and there are pregnancy complications, and she's like, no, I don't want this place. We belong to this place. We should stay over there. I want to die a dragon's rider's death. And she eventually does.
Yeah.
There are complications with the pregnancy, and she
mid-birth. There's a lot of complications.
Yeah.
And the healer or whatever, like the doctor, basically comes to Daemon and is like, basically we could perform a cesarean, but she won't survive. And Daemon, being a good person, unlike his brother, who killed his first wife via cesarean to try to save the baby
that died a day later.
Yeah, I mean in the show he died minutes later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so unlike that, Daemon was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. But she was suffering so badly, and she knew that like her suffering was just gonna continue.
Mm-hmm.
So then she walks out and finds her dragon outside.
And she says Dracarys, and we see the dragon. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's like
no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, like, you are my rider, you are my owner. Why would I kill you?
Mm-hmm.
And he eventually does it.
She keeps saying it multiple times, though, and you can see it processing in the dragon's brain.
Yeah. And
it's sad. It was a sad moment. I was standing there like, what? Why? Like, I mean, I get it, but like also it's really sad.
Yeah.
And just as the dragon is picking up its head and you see the fire coming out of its throat, so that's right when Daemon finally finds her, just as the fire is coming out and burns her.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
And I assume we are going to see the old Daemon back in action.
If not worse.
If not worse, yes. That would be interesting, like the kind of effects that this is going to do on him. But then later we are back in Keen's Landing, and we see the hand of the Keen goes to the Keen, and he says like, yeah, I can no longer serve you because my son has shamed my name and my house.
Yeah. And basically the rumors are really overtaking everything.
Yeah, and the Keen's like, okay, so tell me what's going on. It's like, yeah, I can't because it's very dishonorable. So the King is, and this is all in front of Alicent, and Alicent's like, yeah, no, tell us, she wants...
Tell us, really, in plain words, what's the problem here? Like,
no, but the thing
please spell it out.
Exactly. She wants the truth so she can, like, I told you so.
Yeah.
Therefore, Rhaenyra cannot be on the throne.
Mm-hmm. She can't be heir anymore.
Exactly.
Because it would mean either death or exile for her and her kids.
Yeah. So, and I feel like Alicent kind of shot herself in the foot of it. If she would have stayed quiet, he might have said something. But the second she opened her mouth, they both looked at her and it's like,
oh no, there's a woman here. I can't speak.
I can't talk about this.
Yeah.
So he says, no, I can't say anything. And then the king says, well, in that case, I refuse to your request. And then the hand of the king says, so let me just basically put my son in the house castle, because it's about time he, will be the head of our castle, of the house.
Let me escort him back and get him settled in.
Yeah. And the king says, sure, no problem. And then we also go to how at the end of the episode, Alicent goes to the cripple guy.
No, the cripple's in her room.
The cripple...
At the end of that conversation, she gets back to her room.
Yeah.
And the cripple has like some big schmancy-pantsy dinner set up in her room.
And in the meantime, she is like getting unclothed. Like she's still clothed, but she's like taking off her shoes And
getting comfortable.
Yeah, and it shows us, okay, this is not the first time you guys have had this, meeting, conversation, eating dinner with each other, maybe even, having sex with each other. I'm not sure. Was not in
It doesn't really look like that. It just looks more like a really deep companionship.
Yeah, but she basically tells him the entire thing that just happened with the king and Hand of the King, and he's also the son of the Hand of the King.
So he's brothers
with
the real father of Rhaenyra's children.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, so that's the connection between them.
Yeah, and then she tells him the entire thing that happens, and it's like, so he says, "Don't worry, I will take care of it." And then he basically kills his father and his brother by burning them alive.
Well, first though, he went down to the prison and he took like a murderer and a thief or something else, and he cuts out their tongues. So then obviously they can't go and tell what's happened.
Kiss and tell, yeah.
Yeah. And then he sends them to set fire to the brother and the father.
Which is like, oh my God.
Which now leaves him the only heir.
Yeah.
But I was watching that and I was like, what?
But no.
Why?
But then he tells Alicent what he did, and Alicent is like, what? What did you do? That's not what I wanted you to do.
She was so shocked.
She was extremely shocked and not happy with what he did.
She was upset about it for sure.
Yeah, and he tells her, like, you will one day reward me for this. The thing is,
he's so smug. He's so happy with himself about it.
Yeah, for killing his father and his brother.
Horrible. He's a sick bastard.
And the thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but he has a sigil, just like a Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
The bee.
No, so Littlefinger has a bird sitting on a stick or something like that. He has like a cockroach. I don't know, a beetle.
It looked like a wasp to me.
No, it looks to me like a beetle, something like that.
A bug of some sort.
Yeah, some kind of bug. So that's his sigil for some reason. And yeah, so that is basically that with him. I forgot to mention the funny part where we see Aegon on his window basically jerking off.
Yeah.
Like
hanging out the window, like standing up.
Yeah, exactly. Hanging out the window, jerking off. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you recognize that window, but that window is the exact same window where we see in Game of Thrones where Tommen, Joffrey's younger brother,
I thought about that, where he committed suicide.
Yeah, where he commits suicide.
Yeah.
So that was a nice touch over them. But
which part, the jerking off or the window?
Both. But Alicent comes to him and she tells him, like, who did the whole pig joke and all that. But the bigger thing over here, she tells him that he should not bully his brother and he should protect his brother because they are together, they are family. And
like, it's okay to pull practical jokes when you're like between each other, in the family.
Yeah.
But when you're out in public spaces like that,
you should protect your brother.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, Rhaenyra's kids are technically also family, but not siblings. They're like cousins. But basically, she tells Aegon that, just because he is alive, he is a threat to the throne. He is a threat to Rhaenyra, and they are going to kill you no matter what. So you should be cautious of them and not trust them.
And he clearly doesn't think that, but she's planting the seed quite early in his mind that this will eventually be a thing.
Yeah. And I do believe, like, we are going to see how that changed and how he is going to build that hate towards Rhaenyra. And here is something very interesting with Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones does take place in like 200 years from now. We did basically hear about this story in Game of Thrones because this whole entire series is based upon the Dance of Dragons. Now, I'm going to put a part audio that we see in Game of Thrones where Stannis and his daughter Shuri talk about the Dance of Dragon. So this is the audio.
What are you reading?
The Dance of Dragons.
What's it about?
It's the story of the fight between Rhaenyra Targaryen and her half-brother Aegon for control of the Seven Kingdoms. Both of them thought they belonged on the Iron Throne. When people started declaring for one of them or the other, their fight divided the kingdoms in two. Brothers fought brothers. Dragons fought dragons. By the time it was over, thousands were dead. And it was a disaster for the Targaryens as well. They never truly recovered.
The Dance of Dragons. Why is that a dance?
It's just what they call it.
Doesn't make much sense.
I think it's poetic.
So that is basically the entire plot of this show, The Dance of the Dragons, where Shuri explains, Rhaenyra and her half-brother are going to basically fight one another for the throne. But that is actually not the biggest spoiler between the two. I personally think that the bigger spoiler is the ending. Who is going to win? Who is going to sit on the throne? I did play an audio in the last episode, but here is, again, the audio for basically who is going to win the Dance of the Dragon. Thank you, Joffrey Baratheon, for the spoiler.
And of course, there's the Mad King, killed by my uncle. Would you like to see where the lost Targaryens are buried?
Are you sure Lady Marjorie doesn't find all this a bit macabre?
Oh no, it's quite all right, Your Grace. I'd love to see their tombs, really. It's like taking a walk through history.
Rhaenyra Targaryen was murdered by her brother, or rather, his dragon. It ate her while her son watched. What's left of her is buried in the crypts right down there.
So yeah, that is basically how the Dance of the Dragon is going to end. Aegon is going to kill Rhaenyra, and just like Joffrey said, actually, Aegon's dragon is going to kill Rhaenyra by eating her.
So I kind of wonder, is that sort of a part of the foreshadowing that we were seeing with I don't remember the name of Rhaenyra's son, her eldest son.
I don't remember.
He was training his dragon, and then they bring out the little lamb or the little goat and tie the goat up, and then the dragon goes and kills it, burns it, and then eats it.
I don't think that is foreshadowing. I just think that is him practicing, but it could be somehow foreshadowing. The thing is, he is going to see Aegon killing his mother. The thing is, what is he going to do about it? Is he going to be alive or dead? I don't know. But yeah, Aegon is going to kill Rhaenyra in a very gruesome and horrible way, and that is I actually can't wait to see that. I want to see that already. I hope they won't hide it from us.
Yeah, watch them cut it out.
Yeah, they have been cutting out a lot of gruesome deaths.
I don't mind.
This is a death that you cannot cut out. You must show us. But anyways, I do believe we got to the end of our episode for today. I am your host Joel, and with me, my lovely, lovely wife Batya. We talked about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 6. Follow us anywhere you can, listen and everywhere you can. Give us 5 stars on Spotify and everywhere else, and Apple Podcasts. And we are spoilers, obviously, and we will talk with you guys in the next episode. Bye.